up more just to keep like just to keep the IT,
so you can stay ahead of the game. Yeah, but you might want to like wait 10 years, like take a break and then wait 10 years because then the technology be different like 10 years later, right?
Yeah, they're gonna age out. You're right, they're gonna age out. So we need to get a
we're
gap.
Online. Blue collar recruiting. Hey ho, hey. Rock and roll time.
Now we're live.
Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We are at 8:03, but we really started at 8, and then we had to grab Dan out of the bar, sit him down, get him on the show here. Work his camera.
I just had to spin around and face out.
Don't forget your beer, though.
I got some over here.
I'm trying to see you live on here. I'm going over.
I'm going to bore some people and start talking about some economic stuff and job market stuff because there's some pretty crazy things going on. In the meantime, if you guys want to share off to some people and some groups and some stuff like that,
we'll do.
We'll take it from there. And then I'll intro our all-star in a second here. So basically,
hold up, quick second. Are you seeing us live?
I see us live in Blue Collar Recruiting.
Yeah.
Oh, there we are. Okay, got it. All right,
Found
great.
It.
Yep, me too. Just now. Sorry about that.
You're waving to me right now. I see you on my phone waving. Or your arm stuck, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to share. Okay, awesome. Sorry about that.
So let's talk about January jobs report for a minute because it kind of blew away a lot of numbers and makes it very interesting. Typically, January is a really, really good time to recruit, and it was, and we did really well and got a lot of good people hired for a lot of different companies around there. But the wild thing was that the January job report came out, and I think they predicted about 200 to 225,000 jobs would be created. And it was literally more than double that. So the economists weren't even close. It was like 517,000 jobs in the month of January were created. Usually January is not that powerful. Then coupled with the fact that the unemployment rate dropped to 3.4%. It was lingering around 3.7 for quite a while, 3.6. And I know maybe it doesn't sound like a big drop to 3.4, but that's actually a really big drop in a month's time. And it's really significant in that unemployment rate at 3.4% is the lowest unemployment rate we've had since 1969. That's like right around when we got on the moon somewhere in there type of thing. That's like Martin Luther King speeches. That's a long time ago, right?
That's crazy.
So that's pretty significant that we're at the lowest that we've been in like 40 years or something like that. So that's when you get that demand and they're wrong by like double, and it's 500,000 jobs when they're calling for like 200,000, huge demand that they didn't see coming, the economist. And then coupled with unemployment going down, which means our supply, that's our labor, that's usually not a good thing at the end of the equal sign there, which is it usually means that's going to be a tough labor market. We haven't quite seen that though. February has been really pretty good. We're just starting to see a little bit, but this kind of coincides with what we've been screaming about, for a year, which is January and February are the best 2 months of the year to recruit. So March is going to be really interesting. So anybody out there that hasn't started your recruiting yet for spring, if you haven't done that, I'm telling you, you're teetering on losing tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, because you might be behind the game now of finding some good employees, right? So I'll be posting my link up there a little bit later. If you want to talk about it, get on a Zoom with me and I can go over some things with you on that. I'm going to talk about a couple more things with the economic stuff here, which was a little bit surprising. In almost every category, except a couple in different industries, really the jobs were created across the board, especially in these little things we call construction, which was goofy, which was about 15%. Retail, that was coupled with retail was about 15%. That's our labor market, right? If you're a power washer, pressure washer, if you're a home cleaner, cleaning business owner, retail, right? That's our labor market a little bit. And so that's significant, right? The other thing that was a big, big surprise with interest rates going up the way they've been going up, at the end of last year, housing market really started to tumble and go down, right? Interest rates were going up. It kicked a lot of people out of the market for buying houses and refis and all that. Pending home sales were predicted to go up about 0.9% for January. They were off the charts off, these economists, 8.1% compared to 0.9%. That's unbelievable.
Wow.
I think some of that has to do with the weather, right? And Dan, you might not agree with this at 21 inches you had not too long ago, but here in most other parts of the country, in January at least, there wasn't really that much historically big winter, big cold as there historically. So I think that's
I was talking to somebody from like Massachusetts that was literally like, we haven't had a snowfall. Like there's just no snow on the ground. And Boston's always due for a couple just like blitzes, right? And before we got 20 inches here, which only ended up being like 12. So my wife can't even complain about having to run the snowblower that much when I was out of town.
And raise 3 kids.
Before, 3 kids, run the snowblower.
Whatever.
She's the breadwinner. She makes more money than I do. She runs the house. She raises the kids. She shovels the driveway. She crushes it. But she can't complain. She can't complain that much. But it was like 40 degrees here in Minneapolis for like a few weeks. I remember messaging Brent, who's our production manager of our window cleaning business here. I was like, yo, boy, you better be ready to go clean some windows, man. Like, we're finally going to get an early spring. And then we remembered we lived in Minnesota. But it's still like highs in the 30s right now, just snow melting off the roof. So it's a warming.
Yeah.
What's the gig with StreamYard again, Dan, when people, before they get going live? I've got Kathy Merchant. Kathy, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for hopping on. She's the only one. Everybody else says Facebook user on it, so I'm not real sure.
Yeah, guys, if you're watching on Facebook, usually you're like in the feed, back out to where you're just like watching the live feed in the Blue Collar Recruiting group. And if you look at the description where the video is, it says, "Hey, Shawn Day with special guest Moran CBF Coach, business owner extraordinaire." And then it says, "I'm going live using StreamYard. Click here so that you give permission to Facebook to show who you are." And that's super cool because then like Shawn can see who's putting messages in. Otherwise, it just says Facebook user. But on StreamYard, he can actually like show it on the screen. So when you say something super cool and we want to be like shout out, like I saw Michelle dropped in a note, best new hires ever in February with Blue Collar. We'll put that baby up on the screen and give you a shout out. Right now, it just says Facebook user. But if you click that thing that says StreamYard.com/Facebook, then you can throw your name in there so we can see who you are and give you a fist bump.
That's awesome, Michelle.
Yep. Thanks, Michelle. Appreciate it. Appreciate the business. And it's fun, man. It's fun. Wendy's on. She just hopped on. Wendy, how you doing? So let's introduce the main event here.
Here I am.
Moran. There she is, man. It's been a while. It has
been too long. I mean, what the heck, guys?
Has it really been 3 years?
No, I don't know. Is that right?
Blue collar, but she's been on your show probably. I'm sure.
I think she's been on Bookkeeping, Beer and BS, tipping a couple back with me every once in a while since then. So
yeah.
Anyway, always good. Thanks for the invite and love getting on here talking about the cleaning business world or your favorite beer or, upcoming events, whatever might be going on.
All the above.
Yeah.
So Molly, tip some people off, like the two people that won't know who you are. Tell them a little bit more about you, what you're up to, and just what your jam is.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks, Shawn. So I am Molly Moran. I am in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I've got, I think maybe the largest cleaning company here in Albuquerque. It's called Green Sweep. We've got about 28 or 29 awesome employees, a fantastic leadership team, and have just grown a ton these last couple of years. It's been really fun. We're looking at new locations, but I won't announce that yet. So we're looking to expand, which is really exciting. And I'm also a certified CBF coach, and CBF is, of course, Cleaning Business Fundamentals. And that is with the one and only Debbie Sardone, we serve more residential cleaning companies, I think, in cleaning business owners, I should say, in the world than any other coaching program. So we coach and mentor cleaning business owners. And I've been doing that for, I think, like 3 years, although I'm really bad at time. Like I thought today was Monday and it's Tuesday. So, so I've been coaching for a while and plan on continuing to coach. And I love it. I love helping people work on their businesses and improve their lives and like live life fully and happily and brightly. So that's me.
That is it. Beauty.
You mentioned talking about favorite beer, and turns out my favorite beer is the biggest one I can get my hands on, and I found a 16-ouncer in the fridge.
Coors Light?
Yeah, it's a Coors Light. It's my biggest one I had in the fridge.
There you go.
The favorite one I got is the one in my hand that's ice cold.
Very nice. Very nice.
So, like, that's a 16-ounce. So, what is the biggest beer that I'm imagining it's draft something in like a bucket or a barrel, or what is it? What was the biggest one beer you've ever had?
That's just not a stat I've thought, but now I'm gonna really keep track of it.
I got one.
Yeah,
40. A 40. Haven't you ever had a 40? Like 40 ounce? Like it's horrible. It hardly counts, but
I mean, like, so when you do Edward 40 hands and you got 2 duct taped to your hands, is that an 80 then?
I guess it would be. I have not done that, so you got me beat there. But
you don't have one of the hats with the straws coming down into the mouth or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
I bet Dan does.
I
Dan,
do. I
you?
have I never use it because it doesn't taste any good sucking beer through a straw like that. So
No,
I
it's
don't use it. It's just for show. It's just for show.
We had a party in, this is in college, so a long time ago. It was somebody's 21st birthday, and we had a 40 party, and we filled up our entire fridge with. You opened it up, it was bottles of 40-ounce malt liquor. You know,
just old English,
oldie, exactly. It was disgusting.
Hey, I want to tap our own back a little bit before I forget. Michelle Kruger sent us a really nice email about finding some really good employees, but she said the screening questions, actually a really great candidate that she interviewed and I believe hired, said that she really knew that was the job for her. The candidate said this. Because of the screening questions, she knew there'd be no morons working alongside her at Michelle's company. So I thought that was a pretty unique, different thing. I thought that was cool.
Super cool.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
So, Molly, what do you want to talk about first? Let's talk about, let me get a little bit deep with you. Let's get deep. All right. A little bit
I'll
deep.
try.
All right.
I'll try.
So, we can toss money at people. We can toss, we can do better with our leadership. Our culture can be good. What do you think is more important? I know they're both super important. Leadership or culture? Which one of those two would you think is more important to retention, to employee retention?
How can you separate them?
I don't think you can.
Yeah. So I think so for my company, I can really talk through with my experience. We've had a pretty good culture, of course, for a while, but we have leadership like we've never had, and that has been transformative at Green Sweep. And I'm not, and I don't mean me. Like I've hired a manager who has incredible leadership skills and has been able to. We've built out a career ladder for our employees. We've brought in a whole bunch more benefits packages and all kinds. We've added things, but we've really created this culture of belonging and appreciation, which I'm really big on and I've always done. But it's much more organized and planned. And I've had the ideas and the thoughts. I haven't always had the management skills to necessarily do it, or I guess the leadership to do it. And so the leadership has really helped with the culture. I don't know how you pull those apart. It's really, go ahead.
Dan. I got one. I can separate leadership from culture, but I don't know if I can separate culture from leadership. I have an example of leadership without culture, and it's like the extreme Hitler. That was some ridiculous leadership, right? Guy got a whole freaking like country to back him doing terrible things.
But that was culture too.
Is that culture though?
Yeah. I mean, he created this crazy culture of superiority and belonging of a certain class of people or type of person. It was both. It was, it really was. I mean,
I guess the word culture does start with cult. So
it does.
can you get away from
there we go.
That's a good point, though. That's a good point. Like it doesn't mean it was a great culture. It just means it was a culture.
It was. It was.
I think that culture's a lot tougher, though. I think leadership. I think everybody that is out there can become a good leader if you really focus on it. You really maybe get a coach that really focuses on leadership.
Yeah.
I think culture, man, it's really easy to see it fade or change, or when economic times change, our culture can sometimes change when it maybe shouldn't, or maybe it should. I don't know. It's to me, it seems to be a really complex thing, but there's a buddy of ours, Ben, and his culture is real simple. If I wouldn't hang out with you at a bar or a party, you ain't working for me. That's his culture, really. That's pretty much what it is. If I'm not going to hang out with you and have fun, and I wouldn't hang out at a bar with you or at a party, you're not going to work for me.
Right.
That's easy culture to understand, right?
Yeah.
So the easier the better, I think. I don't know. How do you put culture together? Is it intentional? Is it this is how we are, and then all of a sudden you look around going, hey, this is who we are. Let's put a culture around this.
I think it depends on the leader, right? I think, and I think that in business anyway, I mean, just to make it a little more micro, especially small business, so many leaders of businesses are overwhelmed and overworked and all the things. So they don't necessarily have time to be super intentional about the culture that they're putting together. And then the culture can end up reflecting who they are, which is not necessarily a bad thing, right? They might be attracting people with similar values and work ethics and, whatever. And I see that in different people that I work with and different clients that I've coached, for sure, that you look around and it's like, oh yeah, this makes sense that this is your company, right? But I think if you're trying to scale and build something like a lot bigger that's beyond yourself, you have to be much more intentional about it. Like culture is easy if the owner, or I shouldn't say it's easy. It was easy for me when I was in it. Like I could do it. I could appreciate people. I could give them lots of love, like all those things. Right. But but once the owner is stepped out and is scaling, you have to be much more intentional. Otherwise you can get bad cultures. You can get negative cultures and it really can be very reflective of whoever's directly in charge of the folks working, right? Or the different managers. I don't know. Yeah. So it really depends on the size and where you are in business.
It seems like, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Shawn.
I was going to say a lot of conversation that I've had lately, a lot of good leaders and a lot of good business people I know, and Molly is certainly one of them because you touched on it. What I'm hearing over and over again is a lot of it depends on where you're at in your business life, right? Are you a startup? You have 5 employees or do you have 50? That's a whole different ballgame. And I'm not so sure it's easier to have a culture for 5 people as it is for 50. I don't know that that's any easier necessarily. But it always does go back a lot of times to where are you at in your business? Where's your growth at? Where are you at right now? And does it, and what's the vision? Is your vision to have other locations? Is that going to be the same culture? Is it going to be McDonald's? Is it going to be, the Big Mac's the Big Mac, no matter where you go? Or is it going to be, there's franchises that have different cultures at different locations, right?
Sure.
So it is something to reflect on with the size and stuff. What were you going to say, Dan?
Well, and now that I've thought about it more, I'm like, oh, that was stupid. But I'm going to say it anyway. No, that I am. I'm going to say it anyway. But I was trying to, I'm still working on separating the two some way, somehow. And I was thinking like leadership is maybe the more tangible things where we can look at like training programs or systems or people that we put in place. And it's like the really intentional things that we do. And it seems like culture, we try to influence it, but it's going to happen whether we like it or not. And Shawn, you and I talk about this all the time where it's like somebody is going to tell your story, right? And hopefully it's you. But if you don't tell it, somebody else is going to tell it for you, right? People will say whatever they want to say and they'll tell your story and you got to try to influence as much as you can. And so like that to me is culture is like, it's going to happen. Whether you're leading it or not, the culture is going to happen. It might not be what you want it to be. So as a leader, you're the number one influencer of it, but it can get cancerous really quick. And Molly, you kind of pointed to it, which is like, sometimes we have our head down and we're running so hard and we're like leading and we're hard charging, but we're not paying enough attention to the the externalities of our behavior and the impact of the culture. And so the team will start to create its own culture. Shawn and I had that happen to us in multiple like locations when we were doing the multi-location thing. Is it's distant and we're not there all the time. And so the culture is going to just like metamorphosize into something totally unintentional. And like our intentions as a leader can be one thing. And then what the culture does as a result of the employees and what they decide, you know, they're going to behave like is another thing. And as leaders, we're like trying to manipulate it by either firing the cancerous parts of the culture, high-fiving the good parts of the culture, right? And so it's like we're sitting here, it's like I don't have a good analogy for it, but it's like we're playing with Play-Doh, but the Play-Doh can play back, and that's the culture. And so we're like trying to turn it into something, but it keeps like doing other stuff too. And so we're always just trying to like, but if we ignore it, right? Yeah, if we ignore it, like it's going to go freaking out of control. And I think we've all probably been in that. We've either had a business where we've been a part of it and it did that, or we've been an employee of a business where it did that. But it's so funny that it's like leadership we're super intentional about, or we try to be. And the culture is just like a thing that's happening. And we just keep trying to put up like guardrails and like core values and try to like build on the things we want it to be, hoping that it's like, it wants to go that way too.
But I would say it depends on where you are in your business. So like what you're saying seems very chaotic and out of control to me. And I think that, and you touched on sort of core values and like, so, and getting back to recruiting, like how are we hiring? What are we hiring for? Who are we attracting? And who do we have in the, you know, interviewing, management, whatever kind of role to bring those people in? Are they reflective of our culture at large and what and our core values and all of that? And what sort of like stopgaps or whatever do we have in place to make sure people are living with our core values? Like, so for example, we use our core values as part of our bonusing structure, right? So like our employee of the months and our employee runner-ups or whatever they call, I don't remember what they're called. They're not called runner-ups, but anyway, those folks, like they get that based on
if you ain't first, you last.
No, yeah, that's my culture. Losers. Yeah, I know. So no, but it's like, you know, like we choose people, like, of course, so it starts in the recruiting and the hiring and in the training and, you know, and if you've got those right people. And so even at a remote location, like if you really strongly imprint that on whoever your leadership team is there, and I mean, that's a whole other thing, right? But like you strongly imprint and you hire for that, then the people who are in that, who have your values and support the culture you're trying to create, are going to bump those people out who do not belong in there. They're going to call them out for not being professional or not having integrity or going against your core values. And so they protect the culture. Like it becomes much bigger than just the leader too. Yeah.
You just kind of took what I was thinking and putting it into much better terms than I would have been able to. So I appreciate that. But to piggyback on that a little bit is kind of the proof in the pudding with what Michelle was talking about, where a candidate literally said, I want to be part of this based on the questions I had to answer on an application. And that is part of our strategy with that is to try to match culture with there's certain things we all want, attendance and all the basics. Everybody wants those things, but there's got to be a few things that we look at, and we do look at culture when we're putting together job descriptions and job titles and that sort of, not titles as much as descriptions, but and furthermore, we've changed the way that we interview now. Our interview now, Molly, is basically, and we're preaching this left and right, number one, group interviews. So we're not wasting time. We're being more efficient. We have a mindset remains positive because one-on-one no-shows ruins that. So we do the group interviewing, right? But in our group interviewing, and what we've been talking about is what, you went through our questions, you've gotten screened. We were hiring like 95% of the people that made it through to the interview table. Why on earth are we making you jump through more hoops at the interview? So our interviewing was, once you schedule an interview, the email and text confirmation goes out and says what to expect at the interview. No questions, zero stress. It's a 15-minute presentation by the owner or manager as to why you're going to wake up every morning and love to come to work for us. And that's what we do. And in there, there's a couple, objectives, obviously, but one of the main things we do is we say, here's our core values. We're plow horses, not show horses. That's our culture, basically, in a nutshell. And PLOW, positive attitude, loyalty, ownership, and accountability, and we serve, right? We tell people, if you don't love this, understand it, want to live it, do not take the job, because you ain't going to like working for us. It's that simple. If you're not like really into this, don't work for us. And that's fine, because I bet you'll work somewhere else and it'll be just fabulous for you.
Totally. Just not right for you.
Exactly. So that's it. All of that plays. Culture's everything when it comes to finding the right people. If I had two things to choose, it'd be rate your luck in life from 0 to 10. That's my favorite question. But then it would be, you got to.
What is it? What was the first thing you said?
Rate your luck in life from 0 to 10.
Yes.
Is my favorite.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one.
But it's culture. If you had a magic wand and you knew for sure this person's going to be perfect for your culture, game over. What else is there?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you that I hired the person who is now my manager based skills, but based on culture, a really strong cultural fit. And certainly they had the skills to manage and lead and all of that stuff, but that was such a huge part of it. And they've been able to take my vision for exactly who I want, what I want Green Soup to be, how I want employees to feel when they work there, and put it into action. And, and in a way that I hadn't been able to before since I stepped back, so from like leading from a distance, right? Or whatever. So it's pretty amazing when you do find those right cultural fits that also have the skill sets and whatever. It's magic. And I do believe it can happen. It's not easy, but it's magic, Yeah.
There was a super interesting comment here, Shawn. I think you should throw it up on the screen and we should kick this around. I think she didn't, her name's not in here in the feed, so you might have to search for it. But Wendy was her name. She said, I have a great culture for my cleaning staff, but feel like we have been struggling big time with building the admin team culture. And this is a nuanced thing. And so I want to talk about it a little bit, is these like subcultures that develop in different places, right? As your business continues to get bigger, like sports teams have this, right? Big companies, you see it all the time. If anybody came from the corporate world, like this business unit has this culture, this business unit has another. Do you guys have thoughts on, are you trying to like let it have its own subculture and nurture that? Or are you like, is it you need to bring the cultures together? How do you address or do you just fire everybody on the admin staff and start over if you like the culture that you're like, where do you go with this?
I want to address it to Molly and add another question onto it. Is it, we like to promote from within, career ladder. I've gotten burned a few times having a really good cleaning technician come in and run the office, and two things happen. One is it's not the right fit, but I felt I needed to promote her, right? And it wasn't a good fit for her. And then the other thing is, where is that sort of command? She had a hard time sort of commanding that authority, from moving from managing, cleaning houses to managing people that clean houses. And they're like, she's just a cleaner like us. Who do you think you are? And it was like an automatic, really ruffled feathers when we did that.
Like a jealousy thing in a way.
Little jealousy, little, who do you think you are? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I would say that if that happened to you, Shawn, in all honesty, then that's your fault. And you're like, as the leader of the company, that's that kind of behavior, like anything but excitement for people's growth and promotion. Like that's what we want. Right. So that comes from the top, what the expectations are around people's elevation in our companies. I've done it I haven't brought people from the field in to run, but we have elevated. So we have a career ladder in for our cleaning technicians, but then, then you get those other ones that could really, they can really help elevate in other ways, and they have the skills to do it. And they're either going to stick around for a while, make some good money, and then move on to a more professional position elsewhere or whatever. So I have found places for people, and, it's all about how we present it and what we expect out of our staff, as far as I'm concerned. So that's a leadership thing. And so not to like dress you down or whatever, but that was all your fault.
Yeah,
man.
Shawn,
So,
it's your fault.
Yeah.
that was many years ago.
Losers.
Many years ago.
I really hope you've grown since then, Shawn.
I haven't improved, but it was many years ago.
All right. So, what Wendy's saying in terms of having a great
So
culture
Shawn's
for
a piece
staff,
of shit. Let me mark that down for a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, do it.
Do it.
No, you got to talk nicer to yourself than anybody else, Shawn. So, whatever.
Yeah, it's my job to tell you you're a piece of shit. I'll remind you tomorrow.
Cool.
So, but what Dan said, like in terms of subcultures within a company, and I haven't reached that kind of scale, Dan, so I can't really, well, I shouldn't say that. I do think that there's different things that you can do, like to build teamwork and camaraderie and whatever with your admin team versus like if you've got 25 technicians in the field. Like there's different kinds of responsibility, there's different relationships. And so to what Wendy's saying, and if you don't have a good culture in your office, then I don't know how that you have a great culture for your cleaning staff. I'm curious, Wendy, if you're still on here, that I would think the trickle down from that wouldn't be good, because if your office is managing your cleaning staff, I don't understand how it's great in the field, but not in the office. So Wendy, if you're still watching, then put some more information in there so we can talk about it. But you can do, team building, and you can do all kinds of things just with your office, and you can develop a little bit of a culture. Like it's different. Like even the way that you guys talk to each other, or that what we would talk to each other isn't how we would talk to field technicians, right? So I definitely think I think the values guide the culture no matter where it is. Like, so for me, that's a really strong piece of it. They guide wherever it is. But like my office team, like they go out to like baseball games together. Like, and sometimes we do that with everyone else, but they do things together. They are friends. They are peers, right? And they're not the peers with the people cleaning houses. And so there's also a difference there in terms of interests and socializing and all of it. So I don't think I answered that. But.
This is me like totally putting words in her mouth, but I wonder if it's not a start of a cancerous culture where whenever culture goes sideways, it starts somewhere with a person. And first it starts spreading to the people that they're around. So if your admin culture is bad, there's somewhere in there that there's a person that needs to go. And if it persists, like you said, Molly, that admin culture is going to be negative and cancerous, and it's going to spread to the cleaning team, just a matter of time, because that shit's going to roll downhill. Totally. So it sounds to me like maybe it's early on, and now I don't think any of us are immune to this. It might be that you got to replace a couple people and kind of start that admin thing over. I don't know how big she is. Or it might be like she tried to do that already and then like got another round, right? And so I think you got to cut it out, right? If you identify where that tumor is in the business, you got to get rid of it as fast as you possibly can, which sucks sometimes. But go ahead, Molly.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. And I was just going to say, like, as fast as you possibly can, because I think that many of us have, like, we want to believe that people can change, or we want to believe the best in them. And I've done this, and, and I don't regret the choices I've made. I've learned from all of them. But if you have somebody who is negative in your admin team or in the field, like, it's like, hey, you can like turn this bus around, or you can go. Like, that's what the conversation, in my opinion, that's where the conversation goes really fast. Like your attitude, like you're not, and if you have your strong core values, it's like, hey, you're really not, you're not demonstrating teamwork, or you're not demonstrating professionalism when you're being jealous of somebody else in the office, or you're not helping out, or whatever it is, right? And so you can use the values as a guide to talk and say, I really need for you to change this, like today. Like, this isn't like you get to try it out for the next month. This is you get to like change this today, and I need to see, and these are the immediate 1, 2, 3 improvements that I expect. And I don't expect anything different. Like, it's like almost like a no mistakes thing allowed, honestly, which is harsh, but it's so important if the rest of things are going well.
I think what can get difficult too for some business owners is that we're not the same people we were 5 years ago. I'm definitely not the same guy I was 5 years ago. Okay. And that happens with some of our really good, loyal employees as well. I didn't say it was better. You might want to rewind that. So just because somebody's been really, really loyal and a great employee for 3 years, there's things that I've had happen where, we date the wrong people and we get all messed up with that kind of crowd. And then we stop coming to work on time, or our attitude changes. And, those things are something that, is you really need to just kind of, where are we at today? I get the loyalty, but that can only go so far. If you're going to destroy everything, your loyalty is no longer, it's destructive today. I understand what you've done for 3 years, but if I'm with you for 3 years and then you shoot me today, I don't really think I want you around today.
Right. And this is maybe a little bit of a sidebar or whatever to this, but I think that a lot of us, as we grow and our businesses grow, we elevate people in our companies because we're loyal and we want to give people an opportunity to grow. But then we might elevate them beyond their skill set, or exactly. and they either don't have the willingness or the ability to up level their game, and then really we've outgrown them. And then because we've outgrown them, then some stuff can start to happen, negativity and other things, and it becomes this weird battle. And so I've done this, and I've had incredible people work for me, and I have, and I've learned, and I've made a lot of mistakes for sure as a leader, and this is one that I've made. It took me a couple times, but I've also, helped people exit gracefully. It's like, hey, this doesn't seem like you like it anymore. You don't seem happy. So also helping coach people out of a position and helping them find what they really are good at and want to do whatever is something that we can do to preserve our culture and show great leadership as we're kind of progressing. Right. So that's a sidebar there, but it happens over and over and over again.
Absolutely, it does. I mean, you've got really good, and if they're a really good person, they're going to be graceful about that. That's why we're offering them that type of grace, if you want to call it that, where we want you to, we want you to go away because you don't like it here anymore, not because we don't want you here necessarily, but
we might not either, but
because
we want what's best for you, and we're certain it's not here.
You're gonna have to brush the footprint off your ass, but we still want you to be have fun somewhere else. And that we've done that. I mean, we've done that a lot with, especially when in the residential home cleaning space. More so than any other industry I know of. That's a big relationship with Mrs. Jones or Mr. Smith, right? That is when you're cleaning their home for 4 years, their kids, their pets' names, exactly everything about them. You've seen things they know. All that stuff is huge. So when somebody's ready to move on, are those customers going to go with them? There's a little bit of a conversation I think that we need to have in the residential space that you don't have on exterior cleaning and lawn care and things like that.
It's so much more personal, like you said, and I think it's interesting, like as I've seen and been part of sort of watching the house cleaning industry evolve. And it's like, it's gotten more tech heavy, of course, like everything has, like with apps and online booking and all kinds of things. But I think some people forget, and it depends on your demographic, but it's so personal. And so, and it's way more personal than booking to have your yard cleaned or your whatever. Like we are in the most intimate parts of people's homes. Right. And so, or whatever, but like, it's very personal. And so, it can be a real challenge when you're exiting somebody or they're exiting you with what's going to happen with that customer for sure. Yeah.
I want to hit on kind of Wendy's second piece there, which is, she, like she said, she's got somebody that is not a fit to her culture on her admin team. And this takes me back to good old Tony in Minneapolis, Shawn. We changed our core values because of one employee, Molly. And there's and I won't articulate this well, but this is a thing that I hear over and over, which is your core values kind of choose you. Like, it's not just some shit you throw up in a funny acronym, right? Like, it's the behaviors that persist that you set in place. And so, like, it happens that they happen whether you like it or not. And they're part of your culture. And so identifying your core values is not like hey, what are some cool, catchy words of things we want people to do? It's who are our best employees and what are the things that I try to emulate every single day? And those are our core values. And like Shawn said earlier, we had always said we're plow horses and not show horses. That's been super important to us. But what we realized, we had this terrible employee, and terrible is not the right word. He was great at his job, super good at his job. So much so that we fired him and then we brought him back the next season because he was so good at his job, right? We've all had that employee that production wise and even quality wise can crush it. But the core values need to be your guide. So when you have an employee like that, you can without hesitation let them go and know that their production and their quality are not worth any of the circumstances that they might create. So literally we're like, it got so bad. I mean, we were like, I was having like almost daily conversations with this guy. The relationship ended. There was a buildup, but one of the days that always sticks out in my mind, actually it was 2 days in a row. And the sequence of events was day one, his jobs were really far apart and he had a long drive between them. And so all day he was complaining about how his route was unfair and this BS and blah, 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 blah. So I talked to him. I was like, hey man, like we don't get to choose where our customers live. And yep, like we understand that not everybody gets the best route ever every single day. And we're well aware of it. Like it's part of the condition of our job. And you chose this job and you knew this about this job because this was the second time we had him come work for us. And tomorrow, your two jobs are literally across the street from one another. Yes, today your route sucks. Tomorrow you have the best route of anybody in the company. And we did that because today your route sucks. So we're well aware of it and we're taking care of you, right? The next day it wasn't, hey, I'm super thankful that my jobs are right across the street. The next day it was super bitching about the fact that the jobs are right across the street from one another. And he didn't have time to take a cigarette break in between because the guy was standing outside staring at him, waiting for him to come over and do his job. Like couldn't complain. Like there was no positivity. Just everything was always a problem. Right. And but he came in early, right? He was like to work a half hour early and he always had a great attitude in the morning. And then as the day went on, it would just like randomly, like at some point between 10 and noon, it would just get super sour. And so it was like, and that the straw that broke the camel's back is he was at a client of ours and we like cleaned this lady's house and she always had us do her windows and power washing and we hung Christmas lights for her. Like, and I had probably been out there a half dozen times, like personally. So I like knew her. She had my cell phone number and she texted me one day and she's like, hey Dan, like I just got to come right to you with this one. Your guy Tony's here, and I just saw him break one of my screens over his knee and throw it in the woods.
That's so good, though.
You can't make that up. I was like, all right, Tony, why don't you bring her on back? Tony, just bring her on back here. I don't think you should be at work. You know? So that was the straw that broke the camel's back. It was like, let's just agree if this job is so hard for you that you break a screen over your knee at a customer's house and throw it in their woods, I think you don't love this job. And so let's just,
glad you got that hint, Dan.
Yeah. Wait a second. But what we realized is like, the reason that Shawn has the question of like, rate your luck is it's totally an attitude thing, right? Like luck isn't a freaking thing. It's just like there's going to be a sequence of events and what's your attitude about it and what do you do to control it? And so literally we were like, okay, we're plow horses, not show horses. That's our culture. But like now our core values have really chosen us. And we had this guy and we knew we needed to fire him, but we just didn't know why. And we're like, oh, it's because his attitude sucks. So immediately like the P in plow stands for positive attitude. You just can't work here if you suck.
Yep. Sorry. I love it. Yeah, we had some core values for a while that they were our core values. And then we did like that. We had done the exercise several years ago and then we did it again. And I was still really tied into what they were, but the team went through the discussion for a couple of hours and in the way that we all do it. And we came to the same core values, which was awesome. But we expanded on them because one of mine is like positivity, like as part of our professional, like what does professional look like? It's like problem solver and positive and fun. Like if you're not fun, I don't want you in my everyday, right? Mm-hmm. Like life is too short. And so I love it when it does become really clear because it helps from the beginning to the end of your relationship, right? With an employee.
Shawn, I got one more pro tip. I got this from my Conquer coach, #business coaching.
Hashtag I'm a business coach. Hashtag you can hire me. Hashtag CBF Live. Hashtag Molly's the best. Hashtag Dan, when are you going to hire me? Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
So my coach she was like pushing me on these core values. And this was like while we were working through the new ones. And I had this like epiphany of, and I think I don't think I was reading Simon Sinek's books, but I was preaching to somebody else the why, like start with why. It's not about what you do. It's about why you do it. And I was like, oh shit. All of our company shirts say what we do on them. None of them say why we do it. So like if our whole thing is like, why do we do what we do? And we're going to start with why, then why are we telling people that we clean houses? And why are we telling people that we clean windows and do pressure washing? So we changed all of our shirts to just list our core values. Like it has our company name on it, but instead of listing our services, it lists our core values. And we put them on the back of the shirt because then when they like lift them up to put their shirt on, they get to see their core values every day. And that's like the employees don't wonder what it is that they're going to do when they show up to work. They know pretty damn well what it is that they're going to do when they show up to work, but it's about why they're showing up to work. And it's about the core values. It's not to go clean houses. It's to live on core values. So
I love it. I love putting that's a good pro tip. Yeah.
Pro tip.
There's a direct correlation when I talk to dudes and gals out there and I hear this market sucks. These young kids don't want to work anymore. And this generation, whatever it is now, X, Y, Z, whatever it is. And two things usually hit me. Number one, I'm usually talking to somebody that's in that generation that they're bitching about, which I find amusing. Secondly, is that without a doubt, the ones that say, I know it's a rough market. What do we need to do to get this fixed? There's a direct correlation on who is succeeding on their and executing on their hiring needs and who isn't. And,
I'm sure.
I mean, it's just a mindset that's just, it is what it is. There's this thing called acceptance, man. You either accept it or you do not. And if you don't, you're living in fantasy island. I mean, I don't know how to talk to you about, fantasy island. I can make things up and we can tell stories to each other and make each other feel warm and fuzzy and shit. But the reality is, yeah, it's a tough market, but how are there thousands and thousands and thousands of businesses hiring people?
Right.
We hired 40 technicians in Minneapolis, Minnesota at one of our locations last year. It can be done. So I think it always starts with that mindset. And I think that's where a lot of times it's hard for us to step away from who we are and look at ourselves in the mirror and say these things and be really honest with one another or with ourselves. And I think that's where a coach does come in handy and to a massively important degree. And so why don't we talk a little bit about coaching? And I know, Molly, you've been doing that for quite a while now, for at least 3 years with CBF. Are you still doing some things with the tiny habits too? Is that something you're still doing?
I am. And, actually, like, a little known story is that my first professional job, I was a college field hockey coach. So like, I feel like I'm different, but I've like come full circle, I love coaching, but I use tiny habits in my coaching. I use it as a tool, I would say. It's not like a separate gig or whatever, but it's an approach and it's a tool, especially for people who are trying to make habit changes or instill around productivity specifically and lifestyle stuff, I would say.
Yeah. So we've got, I always ask this question, just I think to help clear some of it up. I get this asked sometimes, what's the difference between a coach and a consultant?
Well, a consultant is typically going to come in, be very project-based, come in and tell you what to do and how to do it, like how to fix whatever the issue is. They're going to dig deep, figure it out, and help you and tell you what to do to fix it. Whereas a coach is going to come in and help you discover what's wrong, although you might already know what's wrong, but help you lead you, help lead you to discover and grow in the answers yourself, right? So like for me, it's hard because I see people struggling and I'm like, all you have to do is this and this and this. And because I actually know the path because I've been on it in some cases, right? But so it's hard to refrain from that because people don't necessarily they don't learn if they're just told what to do. And so helping them learn for themselves what steps they need and come up with it themselves is more of a coaching thing versus consulting, just telling someone what to do.
I guess so that makes me reflect, like, to my kids, I think I might just be a consultant. Get that out of your mouth. Get that out of your brother's mouth. Eat your dinner. Don't eat that. Get your ass to bed.
Sounds like a dad to me, Dan, you know. That's good though. But yeah, so it's an interesting thing, like, because, you know, you also see people, for me, like, I see people in pain and I could tell them, like, you know, I could just fix it or help them fix it, right? But really helping them get there themselves is going to be much more powerful for their growth as a leader and for their business in the long term.
Yeah. So I always push Michael Gerber's E-Myth Revisited. Is it Revisited? E-Myth Revisited.
Yep.
I think.
Yep.
You know, the technician versus the entrepreneur and the mindset with that. And that's really again, I think lawn care is a lot like that, where, you know, I cut grass in college and now I want to start a business. You know, I think hair salons are like that. I definitely know residential home cleanings like that, right? And exterior cleanings like that, our industries.
Yeah.
When do you need to, and have you, you know, I just don't know if you're going to be a business owner. You know, I assume that we can't tell everybody in the world that you are definitely made out to be a business owner. Maybe we can. I don't know. What do you think, Coach?
Are you asking me when I can tell people that?
Yep.
Oh, I that's not for me to tell them. That's for somebody to discover for themselves, right? Like I'm always going to see. I've got the tools to teach you how to run your business through cleaning business fundamentals. I've got the tools to teach you, and so I'm gonna see the potential in everybody because I know how well our system works, and if they can take it and do it. But it's up to them to figure out for themselves whether they're cut out for entrepreneurial life and business ownership. That's not for me to ever tell anybody.
Right.
Like, yeah, which I think was a softball question, but yeah, I'm never going to tell somebody that.
So do you think that it's more like a person goes and buys a McDonald's franchise and tinkers with the Big Mac that sells 7,000 a second or something crazy? So naturally they start tinkering with that because that's, you know, the ego's coming in there and I know better. Do you see that being more of a problem, or is it just more of a mindset, attitude, believing in themselves type of thing? I'll tell you what my belief is, without being a coach, because I see it a lot, and I talk to a lot of business owners, is fear seems to be the number one issue that surfaces that prevents people from being able to execute.
This has been like the theme of so many conversations I've had today, Shawn. Like, it's crazy. Like I was messaging with one of my a member in CBF and who I coach, and I'm part of this other group that we were talking about fear as well. And I think fear is, people have fear of success, people have fear of failure, people have fear of change. There's so many fears, and that is like, if you can't figure out how to be confident enough in yourself that you can be okay with like failing or succeeding or whatever it is, or overcoming your fears and moving through them, you're not going to be able to achieve the successes that you would like to. Like, being able to just live with fear and move through them is part of being successful, in my opinion. I don't know if you think that or not, but yeah. I get nervous and fearful of things, like, I wouldn't say regularly, but, you know, like getting on stage or teaching this or coming out with a new curriculum or whatever it might be. And it's like, yeah, but what if I don't do it? Like, I've got this great thing to share with people. I've got this great message. Like, and so to me, that's actually failing, right? Is not coming out with it. So I don't know if I answered your question, but fear has been this crazy resounding conversation I've had today.
I've gotten to a point, not quite 100%, but I'm really moving towards actually trying to get the mindset of when shitty things are happening to me, wow, perfect. This is where I build character. This is where these things have to happen in order for me to be a better person, a stronger person, a more mindful person, and all those. There's a lot of positive that comes out of shitty things, and it's you know, it's easy for me to tell my children this, my teenagers, you know, listen, it's not always candy and apple pie and unicorns, man. If it was, how can you improve and build? You literally cannot build character unless shitty things happen to you.
Yeah, you can't. I really agree. I think our struggles, they can define us negatively, or they can define us positively. You know, like, and there's this great book which I'm sure you've heard of because you're like a philosophical guy and you're a reader. Whatever. Anyway, there it is. But I know you like to read. But you know, The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday.
Yep.
You know that book? I mean, it's great, and it's a great message too. It's like, and I like, and there's times when the obstacle is like really freaking shitty. Like it's a lot. And it's like, and it's hard not to fall into a victim place, or why is this happening to me, or what good is there here? Like you might not see it immediately. It might take you a year, right? You might not see it immediately. But when I've had certain circumstances like that for me, I'm like, okay, where's the lesson? What is the lesson? What is the lesson? And the lesson might change every day, right? And it could be the same thing that happened. The lesson might keep changing. But if you look for the opportunity in whatever the shit is, it's there. I mean, not to be like a Pollyanna, but it is. And it doesn't mean it's not hard. It doesn't mean that you don't feel bad. It doesn't mean any of that, but it means you can take something from it and use it.
Here's the game changer. This is the game changer right here. Everybody listening to this, when you are able to identify with 300, 400, 500 business owners that go to this huge same building to discuss these things together and to learn from each other, that's a game changer. That's how you get the mindset. That's where you see and can identify with hundreds of people that are going through or have been through exactly what you're going through. You are not special in being fearful or having hurdles or all that stuff. And I'm telling you, this is where CBF Live comes in. If you are even thinking
Good segue. Yes. Slick, man. I like that. Damn.
Big kudos to Mr. Day. Yay. So anyway, I'm a full of shitter and or philosopher, I mean. And so
I did stutter in that, didn't I?
What's this crazy CBF Live thing? I remember like the first one Dan and I were at, there were like 3 vendors and COVID. And everybody was wondering how the hell we're getting home. What's this?
Oh my God.
What's going on?
That was the first one you guys were at.
I think that was the second one. I think that was the second one where we got stranded there. And I remember having like 3 different bottles of hand sanitizer on the table. And people like trying to walk away with them, and we're like, no, we need that.
And your wife was literally like, you're not coming home, or you're going in the basement, and I'm spraying you down with and she's serious.
She made me strip in the garage. My wife made me strip in the garage.
Me too. So did mine.
Nice.
I get an Uber or something home. I pull up the garage door. She's standing there. It opens. She's like off, and I was like, what? She's like off. Straight to the shower, leave all your shit in the garage, like totally, like it was like literally my underwear, everything in the garage to the shower. Yeah. Anyway,
it's shower.
Anyway, so well, CBF Live, thank you, great segue. CBF Live. So for those who don't know, who might be watching this later, I actually have a special offer that I get to offer for the next 72 hours. So you guys put the thing cbflive.com. So if you go to cbflive.com, you can read more about the event and sign up. And if you use this is for members or non-members, but if you use the code Molly half, you will get half off the registration price, which is awesome. It's gonna go, it only goes up from here. But yeah, Molly half is the thing. And if you use that here in the next 72 hours, I'm also gonna enter you into a drawing for a VIP upgrade, which is like $1,000 value. And the VIP upgrade means you get to like have lunch with the coaches and other people and a whole bunch of other fun stuff. So, but let me tell you what CBF Live is. It is it 3 days, guys? 2 days?
I think it's the 13th through the 15th thing. It's
Thank-
still 3 days.
Thank you very much. In April in Fort Worth, Texas, and it is the largest. It's the largest in-person event for home cleaning service owners, and we get together and there's a bunch of learning. So there's a ton of teaching from the stage from Debbie Sardone, who started CBF, but then she's got guest speakers, and then the coaches also speak from the stage, and we all speak. The theme for this one is marketing, branding, and sales. So that is the theme that everyone's going to be speaking to in various ways. So marketing, branding, and sales, and it's action packed. Like they're full days, and then often there's evening events too. And so there's a lot of learning. And there's also learning about what CBF is for people who don't know what CBF is. But I got to tell you guys, these events have become so popular and so fantastic that most of our membership comes to this one. We have a couple events that we have an event in the fall that's members only. This one's open to other people who want to come and explore CBF, or who just want a good event around how to run a cleaning business successfully. And so, but this one, we get tons of members at this one too, which is really fun because there's just so much value. And then, so there's the learning, but there's also the community, which is a huge part of CBF. And, you know, I've been in CBF for I believe it's 5 years. Again, I'm bad at time, but I'm pretty sure it's 5 years. And when I joined, like, you know, it can be really lonely being a business owner. And I think that's what a lot of people feel who are in the cleaning business world before they find their tribe. And we are, you know, we are a tribe for sure. What? Jamie Reeder. Hey. And hey, Tammy. So yeah, so it's very intensive. It's a lot of learning. It's a lot of fun. Weirdly, it's a lot of dancing and music, but you get used to it, and it's actually a really good time. It's great. It's great.
It's not bad, but when there's video and I'm always standing next to Ron Howard, who's like the best dancer on the planet.
Yeah, Ron's like a DJ, just
75 or something, and he just dances like freaking crazy. I mean,
who are you guys talking about? Who the heck is Ron Howard?
From so tell us, Trevor and Troy's dad.
Oh, got it. Got it. That's hilarious. You know, my first event I went to, it was a live event, and I was like, what the? With all this dancing, I was like, I could not even with it. And I was like, this is so weird. I'm so uncomfortable. And now I'm like, I'm on stage, you know, like it's ridiculous. But so it's learning, it's community, it's fun. And there's events going into the evenings. There's often like hot seats and roundtables and discussions and all kinds of things. And so it's a really great event for anyone looking to further their business growth. We're a perfect community for people who are just honestly just starting out. Like if CBF had existed when I just started out, then who knows where I'd be today, but it didn't. So it's great for people who are starting out, or people who are stuck, or people who are just looking for ideas and community about like how to do things better in their business. And the truth is that we can always do things better in our business, right? Yeah. So it's fantastic. Oh yeah, who's the boss? That's right, Kathy. Yeah.
Okay, I gotta jump off here and get these roommates to bed back here.
So hanging out in the bar with you?
Yeah.
Go console.
My 6-year-old and 4-year-old roommates
Go console.
Need to get to bed. I'll catch you guys later. Shawn, I'll see you tomorrow night with Debbie, Molly. Good hanging out with you. I'll see you in a month and a half.
Sweet. I'll look forward to it.
We'll have a Michelob Ultra together.
I can't wait.
40 ounce.
They don't make them in that.
40 ounce Michelob.
They should. That'd be like.
Yeah, man. Have a good night, buddy.
All right. See you guys.
Yeah. Anyway, see you, Dan.
Hey, Molly, one of the things that you touched on, which is cool, before we wrap some things up, is I don't know if it was just like Debbie's coaching stuff and consulting, or if it was CBF, where it, sort of like that, get mop free. That was like sort of something like that was the slogan. And now you guys have gotten to the point where there's so many $1 million companies up on the stage that get recognized for their accomplishments. That I don't know. I think it's good to remind those that aren't up on that stage yet that, you know, this is something that is a lot of those people that I've seen recently, especially last year, up on that stage, were not mop free not too long ago.
It's amazing. It is like, it's the most amazing program. So yeah, we actually have a whole program. So we have people who are just starting out, and we have people who are at $3 million run rates in CBF, right? So any people in essentials just starting out to our CBF elite group, we've got these different levels depending on where you are in business. And so the people who are just starting out, some of them are cleaning in the field. And so our goal for them is to stop being employees of their business and start being owners. And so the goal, we have a whole program called 90 Days to Mop Free, where we assist our members to get out and replace them, hire their first employees, all of that. And it's so incredible, and Debbie, she started by cleaning out of the back of her car, right? So so that's a really powerful and incredible thing when that happens for people in CBF. And then we have, we like to celebrate, like we like to dance, but we like to celebrate accomplishments because it's important, right? Being a business is hard and life is hard. You got to stop and celebrate. Actually, I don't think life is hard. I want to reframe that, but you want to, hard things happen. So you want to celebrate the good things. And so we celebrate, we have a big thing. We have a huge ceremony when people become $1 million business owners. So that means they have $1 million in revenue. We have a ceremony. It's a green jacket ceremony. We call them Mop Free Millionaires. It's crazy. Like the first year, I think Debbie did it, there was like maybe less than 10 people who got it. And the next year, and it keeps growing. And like last year, it was nuts how many Mop Free Millionaires there were.
That stage was full.
It was full.
Yeah.
We have a big ceremony. It's very emotional for people. It was totally emotional. I cried like a baby when I got my green jacket, right? So it's super cool. We like to celebrate growth and expansion. And then, you get to the place beyond $1 million, $2 million, depending on where you are. Like where I am in my business is I'm an absentee owner, right? So I've got an incredible leadership team. I work about 5 hours a week or so in or on my business. And that's just with the leadership team. And so once you get to a certain level within CBF Elites, people are starting to think about other things like, what else can I do with my time? How else can I grow? Where else can I do? So we're also carving out space for people to talk about that and do that too, which is super fun. Or can I be a coach, right? So I've been coaching for the last 3 years. I couldn't do that if I was working at Green Sweep every day. Right. So anyway, thanks for asking that question.
That's awesome. We go to a lot of different conventions and stuff like that. And I honestly can say, and I don't hop on and say this to other people that are part of other conventions. I can honestly say that there's no clickiness, there's no snootiness, everybody is really felt welcome there. Everybody feels welcome there. You really will fit in. So I was always one 25 years ago or 30 years ago where I didn't want to go to conferences and all that, not because my ego was too big, but I just didn't like being around a lot of people, Mm-hmm. And I can tell you that one of the things that I regret the most, if not the most in my business stuff, is not getting somebody to help me and coach me and help me figure things out sooner. I used to say, I lost tens of thousands of dollars because I didn't go to somebody that knew better than I did and already forged the path to success where I wanted to be. I just kept stumbling along. It's tens of thousands. I look back at that now and I'm seasoned enough. I like that word, seasoned.
I like it. I like it.
Enough to realize it's hundreds of thousands of dollars I lost, not tens of thousands. It's not even close to 10. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars in time, aggravation, and ungodly amount of stress that I wasted when all it took was to show up to an event for a couple $100 to basically live your dreams, to be traveling into Ireland and all the places that you've been traveling.
Hey, I'm going to Barcelona tomorrow.
Are you really?
Oh, yeah. For a long weekend. Yeah, no, I've got so much freedom. Like, it's awesome. Yeah, I know, but you're right. And for whatever reason, Shawn, that was your path. But like, I see so many people in pain and I'm like, please, no, like, just really like, when I'm talking to people who are not members yet or whatever, I'm like, this, if you want real change and transformation and you've been trying to do the same thing for years and you're not seeing the success, then at least come to the event and check us out, because all the answers truly are there. So yeah, I totally get that. And the other thing I would say to sort of piggyback on that is when you're looking for coaching, if you don't have a coach or whatever, whether you're lawn care or cleaning or whatever it is that, you know, I know you've got a wide audience here, but finding a coach that's in your industry and who has succeeded at and they're living they've got the life or the business that you want to have is key. Because like I actually had a business coach that was not industry specific, and I spent thousands of dollars, and I kept trying to create systems, and I kept trying to do and it didn't work, right? And I was miserable when I signed up, and it, you know, everything changed for me obviously after that. Definitely living the life that I had dreamed. It just took me longer to get there than I would have preferred, right? But it's all right. I'm happy I'm here now. So
perfect. All right. Let's wrap it up. Thanks for being on. It was so good to see you again.
It's always so good to see you. I look forward to seeing you in April. And will you do me a favor when you talk to Debbie tomorrow night? Ask her if I can speak on the first day, so that I can just hang out the rest of the time. But I always get a little stressed out. I'm like, oh, it's an early night. Like I'm like in my room at 8:30, and I don't get to like catch up with my buddies and stuff. I'm doing that. Yeah. So yeah, I know. But I'm really looking forward to see you guys.
How many coaches are there now? How many coaches you got?
Let's see. I think let's see. Art, Derek, Jeannie, me, Jamie, and Libby. There's 6 of us. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there are 6 of us. Yep. Yeah. So good group, diverse sort of skill sets and stuff like that. And anyway, Shawn, thank you so much for having me. It was super fun to see you, and I look forward to seeing you in April. And I'm going to do one last shameless plug. 72 hours Molly half is a discount code for anyone who is not yet signed up for CBF Live and wants to join us in Fort Worth for the best event in the residential cleaning industry of the year.
All right, everybody, I'll be on next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Tomorrow we'll be on Turfs Up Radio and Bookkeeping Beer and BS at 4 Eastern time. And then Dan and I will be chatting with the Tony Robbins of the residential home cleaning space, Miss Debbie Sardone.
What time's that tomorrow, Shawn? What time is Debbie?
Is actually 9 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow night. So that'll be a lot of good content, and I will definitely start that out by making sure that I explain to Debbie the importance of Molly speaking first in April. We'll get that right out there.
not first, but on the first day. Not first. No. I want to be very clear. Just like get me on the first day so I can hang out.
All right, sounds good. You take good care, Molly. I'll see you if you guys need anything. I'm going to post some things up with links and all that good stuff here in a minute. Take good care. God bless everyone.
Always appreciate you. Thanks so much for all the great info, Shawn. Take good care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.